Suddenly, it skittered to the ceiling right above me and started scratching with its two front legs, almost like it was burrowing.
No, sir.
It then
We gotta
started
get
to
out of here.
sink into the...
Welcome back, guys. It's Ronnie. I got some feedback that maybe people don't so much enjoy the real horror story, so I'm down to find more animation. So I want to let you guys know, for the last 3 episodes, I've handpicked every single movie that we've watched together, like a team, like a family. We're gonna lean a little bit more towards the animated horrors. Let me know in the comments below which one you prefer to see more of. Or you could just follow me on Twitter at Ronnie_Ayo. Send me the link to the scariest video you know using the hashtag JumpScareSaturday, and you wouldn't have to worry about me picking these crazy movies that I like to watch. And if your video gets picked, you get a shout out. Today's subscriber shout out goes to guy who comments everywhere, Simp Light, and Russian Elmo. Thank all 3 of you guys. Appreciate the support. Our first video today is called Who's Up There by Creepy Animated Stories.
When I was a kid, my family moved into a big, old 2-story house with big empty rooms and creaking floorboards. I always felt like someone or something else lived in that big house. Both my parents worked late, so I was often alone when I got home from school. At this time, when I got home, the lights weren't on. I went inside. No one was home.
It's a big house.
Out, "Mom!" And not expecting to hear her voice, I was about to throw off my backpack.
What?
But suddenly, I heard her saying, "Yes?"
You know that's not her. Get up out of there.
I went up the stairs to see which room she was in,
sir.
but I got the same answer again. "Yes?" At that time, I didn't know the exact layout of the house, but she was in one of the faraway rooms at the very end of the hallway.
What?
It confused me, but I went to her anyway.
You don't know where your mom's room
Her
at?
presence relieved me from any fears. Just as I reached for the doorknob to enter the room, I heard the front door open downstairs, and my mother calling me over with her cheerful voice.
No.
"Honey, are you home?"
Right. I'm out of there. Get up out of there,
"Honey."
son.
I jumped back, frightened, and slowly back toward the stairs. But when I turned around, the door to the room began to slowly open.
Oh, no.
I saw something
strange what is
there.
that?
And I don't know what it was, but it was looking at me.
What? Don't watch what happens next. What? Ah! The cheap jump scares get real low sometimes, all right? That wasn't even that scary. That was pretty good. It's a nice warm-up. Our next story today comes to us from our friends at French Horror Movies, titled The Chair. This dude haunted by a chair. I'm already over this one, and I picked it out. Look at him, he's so cool. That would kind of, I'm not gonna lie, I'd be pretty tense about that too. That's not normal, pal. That's an abnormal. Oh! I don't know how y'all do it. It's time to go. We out of here already, early. I'm out of here. What do you expect to find the closer you get to that chair? Just out of curiosity. You Couldn't get me that time. Couldn't get me. I was ready for it. Why is he so obsessed about this book? Is he trying to see if he covers... Okay, yeah. So basically, don't turn your back on the chair. What are you trying to test? I'm not even gonna lie, that was probably one of the scariest and dumbest. That was probably one of the scariest and dumbest things I've ever watched in my life. Like, wow, wow, goblin sitting in your chair. Our next film is called Insanely Weird Bus Incident, sent to us by our friends at Horror Stories Animated. We saw them last week.
Taking public transportation is always an interesting experience.
I know that's right.
Buses and subways are notorious for creepy people, drunk people, and crazy people. Sometimes all three at once. I've had my share of bad experiences on buses over the years, but one definitely stands out. It was a few years ago, and the job I was working at the time had events on Friday and Saturday nights that went really late.
Sound like a
This
banquet
meant that
server.
I was often taking public buses home at midnight or even later on the weekend.
You're lucky they run that late, honestly.
Taking the bus at that time of night, I had seen people pass out on the floor,
Oh my god!
get into fist fights,
What
or
is
spend
this?
the whole ride yelling nonsense at absolutely no one.
Look at these characters.
Usually the drunk people were so drunk that they couldn't do much but try to stand upright.
True.
So they didn't bother me as much. It was usually the sober but creepy ones that caused the problems.
Yes, sir.
This particular night, I was one of the first people on the bus, and there were only a few other passengers at that point, so there were plenty of empty seats.
Right.
When a man came on at the next stop and chose the seat directly in front of me, I was instantly suspicious. That was never a good sign.
Right.
Normal people space out as much as they can. It's just normal human behavior.
Look, I'm not gonna pause too much, honestly. But if you're like scared for your life and your health, wealth, and safety, the best seat possible is, there's a bus driver right here. It's those little seats that face towards the aisle on the sides. Always pick the one that you can actually see and make eye contact with the bus driver. I'm just saying, like, if you're that scared, the one closest to the door. Whatever you do, don't head towards the back.
Out as much as they can. It's just normal human behavior. I'd learned long ago to either wear headphones or read to discourage anyone from talking to me. And that night I was reading. Unfortunately, it didn't discourage this guy at all. He immediately turned around in his seat and started talking to me. I'm not the type of person who wants to talk to strangers, so I tried to ignore him. However, he was so persistent, and I hate being rude, so I answered a few questions really briskly
Bro,
with
leave me alone.
one-word answers, hoping he'd get the hint.
Right.
He didn't.
Never do.
He just kept trying to talk. I politely told him that I just wanted to read, but he kept talking to me. It wasn't small talk either. He was asking really personal questions like, did I have a boyfriend?
What's your
Did
address?
my boyfriend live with me?
Right.
Where was he that night?
What's your
Why
social
was I
security
alone?
number?
It made me really uncomfortable, and I didn't answer most of it, obviously.
Clearly.
What I did, I kept really simple. I told him I was just coming home from work, and that's why I was alone, but that was about it.
Right.
I should have moved seats, but I was afraid he was going to follow me, and I didn't want to escalate the situation.
I get that.
None of the passengers were even paying any attention,
They never do.
so I didn't think they would be very helpful.
They
Even
chilling.
worse, my stop was towards the end of the bus route. As we got further, the bus emptied out more and more, and it was becoming obvious that we would be getting off the bus in the same neighborhood. The creepy guy
All
had,
bad.
of course, asked me where I lived, and I gave a really evasive answer, just said, the neighborhood. He laughed and said, obviously, but where? At this point, I had had enough to not care about being rude and straight up told him that I wasn't going to tell a complete stranger where I lived.
What is that pinky doing?
Other
right
people
there?
might have realized that they were being inappropriate, but he just seemed offended that I wouldn't tell him. He kept asking. He told me where he lived, as though that would entice me to do the same. As we got a few blocks from my stop, I started to get worried. I was afraid he was going to get off at my stop and follow me. I actually lived across the street from a police station, so I had never worried about this kind of thing before, but it was late and there was no one on the streets. I debated getting off at a different stop and taking a longer way home to see if he followed, but that would only mean I was outside longer alone.
Right.
Instead, I decided to take my regular stop, but if he got off too and started following me, I would go straight to the police station.
Duh, that's your easiest route.
We got to my stop and I stood up to leave. I was pleasantly surprised to see that he didn't get up. I was incredibly relieved. I got off at my stop and started heading towards my house, which was only about a block and a half away. I was halfway there when I saw a figure walking towards me from further down the street, the direction the bus had gone. The figure was moving pretty quickly, and it was really dark, so I couldn't see clearly, but it seemed like a young or middle-aged man.
Dude, back.
I remembered that there was another bus stop on the next block, and that someone could have easily gotten off there just 30 seconds later and backtracked a block to catch up with me.
Right. A lot of effort,
Immediately,
pal.
I suspected that it was this guy from the bus.
Yeah, you should.
I was only half a block from my place, so
Hit the police
I picked
station.
up the pace, nearly running. The figure had turned and crossed the parking lot and was coming straight at me. I got into my house just seconds before the person would have caught up with me. I locked the door right away. I didn't turn on any lights and went to a window that faced the street. I watched from behind the curtains. I didn't see anyone right away, but a few minutes later I saw the figure go by, back towards the main street. That's when I noticed it was the man from the bus.
Yes, it was.
He sat down outside my apartment and stayed there for a long time before getting up and looking up at my windows. I'm pretty sure he saw me looking through my curtains. I was completely freaked out.
This sounds right.
Now the stalker knows where I live.
The end. I wish it had a better ending than that, but I mean, I guess that's what it is. If you feel like you're in danger, just always follow your first instinct. You know you live next to a police station. Go ahead and do the dash. Jump in there. There's nothing wrong with it. Put the power into the right hands. Our next video is Inhuman Entity Sleep Paralysis. What is up with all these long titles today? By Llama Arts. This just came out today, so this is super fresh and crispy. Very intrigued to see what's going on with this one.
A cool breeze crept through the valley outside of Telluride, Colorado, as my friends and I unloaded the truck parked on the dirt driveway. We had recently started renting an old mining house built in the early 1900s. Most of the home had been renovated over the years, but there were still glimpses of what the house used to be. The exterior of the home was painted a bright yellow.
I hate yellow
and adorned
houses.
a blood-red door. The yard was abundant, with lush green grass, minus the few brown patches that littered the ground. In the corner of the yard sat a dilapidated gazebo, filled to the brim with landscaping equipment. I stood facing the house, admiring the quaint ambiance it seemed to exude.
Dilapidated, though?
I felt something hit my back and spun around. My brother, William, was standing behind me with a box under his right arm. "Let's pick up the pace. We don't have all day,"
oh, man, one of them.
he said, with a little annoyance masked in his voice. Yeah, I responded, and started walking to the back of the truck. My other two friends,
why y'all parked
Elijah
so far
and
from the
Leon,
house?
were in the process of stacking some boxes on a dolly. "Hey man, take this to my room," Elijah said as he handed me a large box. I resituated it in my arms and gripped it. As I did so, I could hear glass clanging inside and a strong, familiar odor starting to leak out. "Hey man, be careful," Elijah snapped.
You know what that is.
"If you ever want to smoke again, I'd highly advise you to take it one step at a time there, champ. Maybe if you didn't throw everything into one single box without bubble wrap, then you wouldn't have an issue of something breaking."
That's right, my guy. Tell him.
Leon responded. Elijah's eyes widened, as if he had just figured out the secrets of the universe.
Who uses bubble
I
wrap?
laughed, turned around, and proceeded into the house. The floorboards creaked as I stepped onto the warped living room
That's
floor.
a big house. Oh,
I surveyed my surroundings of the old rustic home as I headed to Elijah's bedroom.
Not bad, for real.
Only 2 interior rooms had been renovated in the
Just
entire
2?
house. One being the kitchen, which had marble countertops and new appliances. The other being my room. I was the one who found the home on the market, so respectively, I had first choice of which room I wanted to claim as my own. The other rooms, on the other hand, were still the same as they had been since the early 1900s, with dreary wooden floorboards and old chipping paint. Dude, what the hell? William yelled from upstairs.
He
I
harassing,
quickly
bro.
climbed the narrow stairway to find my brother in his room. I walked in to find what looked like to be a large lump underneath the wooden floorboards. It almost looked like Andre the Giant was buried in the middle of the room. I told you it was an old home, Will. They shift over time.
No, they
I
didn't
said,
shift, bro.
trying to hold my snickering back. Yeah, I get that. But you didn't say that I'd have to maneuver around a speed bump, he snapped back. I took a deep sigh and turned to him. Okay, look, man, we're only going to be here for a year. You've got plenty of room to put your bed so you're not sleeping on an incline. William turned back to the floor dejected.
Would not make me feel better at all.
It's easy for you to say. You're not staying on the cover of Sticky Fingers by the Rolling Stones.
Right.
After we'd moved everything into the house, we all plopped down on the couch, beers in hand, and began our well-deserved R&R. Elijah had already begun smoking, and the room started to fill with the pungent odor. So are we going to be doing some ghost hunting tonight, boys? Elijah said as he passed the joint to Leon.
I do not want to think of my new house
come on,
like that.
You don't actually believe that crap, do you? Leon responded as he was rolling his eyes.
Rolling his eyes.
The guy blew his brains out on the front porch in the 1930s. I'd be surprised if there wasn't a ghost floating through the halls. I mean, how do you think we got such a killer deal on rent?
I couldn't do
William said as he lifted his arms and started mimicking the sounds of a specter.
It's real funny till it happens.
Shut up. It's all nonsense. You've just been watching too much Ghost Hunters, I responded. But anyway, I'm gonna go to bed. We need to get up early to do some cleaning. Good night, guys.
I need to know in the comments, would you be willing to move in and or buy a house that somebody themselves in? Would you be able to do it? Now, passing away in a house to me is different than somebody where a violent act took place and this person took their life. Let me know. I want to know your thoughts on this.
In all reality, I was a little perturbed by what happened at this house. I've always been quite agnostic to my beliefs of ghosts or spirits, but I've never witnessed anything myself. The rent was super cheap for an entire house.
You know what?
And I wanted to save some money for a trip outside of the country.
I bet his room is the cursed
I pushed
one.
the fact that someone had ended their life to the back of my mind.
Right. He's got the only renovated room.
I entered my room and slid under my sheets and basked in the warmth of my bed. It had been a long day and my body ached from moving. I grabbed my phone and looked for a rain and thunder YouTube video to help me sleep. And after about 15 minutes, I crept into comfortable darkness.
I bet he's got the cursed room.
My eyes shot open in the middle of the night.
Don't do it.
The moonlight shone through my window and enveloped my room in comforting light. I could hear creaking from the house as the wind howled outside. I tried to sit up, but found my efforts futile. Sleep paralysis was a regular occurrence in my life.
That's crazy.
It happened at least once a month due to stress and a little help from my antidepressants. At this point, I'd almost gotten used to it. I could hear what sounded like a light scratching noise coming from inside my room, and prepared myself for the usual dark figure to be standing in the corner.
What?
My eyes darted from left to right, trying to decipher where the noise was coming from.
That's crazy.
It was then I started to hear skittering.
Skittering?
Like someone or something was moving around. A cold feeling crept over my body as I started sweating profusely, my sheets becoming soaked. The skittering stopped, but was replaced by cracking. one that resembled that of broken bone. Out of my peripheral vision, I could see long, needle-like limbs protruding from my closet. They each moved slowly, tapping the wall as if they were looking for something.
What is
I then
that?
saw a large, bulbous black mass starting to show itself from the closet door.
Bro.
It was coated in tiny hairs and
Spiders?
twitched almost habitually. A
Ah!
loud moan echoed throughout my room
It's not
as
that
the creature
scary.
finally presented itself. A spider-like entity was situated on my wall.
It's not
The
that big a
reason
deal.
I say spider-like is because its head had been replaced with that of a human one.
Okay.
Its eyes were
Let's see the
blacked out
face.
from the shadows of moonlight,
What is
and
that?
its lower jaw was removed, revealing a
What?
blotchy tongue that oozed saliva.
You can't even see it.
It was about the size of a twin bed and stared at me for what seemed like hours.
What?
My heart was racing. I was begging my body to move, but to no avail. I was stuck there, in suspended torment. I tried screaming, but I was unable to make a sound.
That's
All I could do was watch the creature on my wall as it grew closer. Suddenly, it skittered to the ceiling right above me and started scratching with its two front legs, almost like it was burrowing.
no, sir.
It then
We gotta
started
get
to
out of here.
sink into the wall,
What?
as if the wall had turned into quicksand. First, the abdomen, then the
Ah!
legs. Eventually, all that was left was its mangled head staring straight at me. Those cold, dead eyes boring into my soul.
What is?
I could hear it moaning, and I could feel the drips of saliva hit my torso. The creature then let out an inhuman roar and vanished into my ceiling. My body was finally released, and I jolted out of my bed screaming. As I did, the house erupted into more terrified outcries coming
What?
from upstairs. Apparently, I wasn't the only one who saw something.
What?
And, unfortunately, it wouldn't be the last time either.
What? XP Pen. What kind of a cliffhanger video was that? Was that supposed to be the connection with the bulge? I'm not gonna lie, I really liked that one up until that part. Doesn't make any doesn't make too much sense to me. Our next video is called Good Night. It's just so funny. You gotta keep the video moving. I shift between like baffled, confused, horrified, and then proper. Like, our next film is Good Night. Our next film is Good Night. Alright, I'm gonna get serious. Next video today is Good Night by Fun Size Horror. It's my first time ever watching one of their films. Very intrigued, and I hope this one's good. Let's go. Good night. Let's go, baby.
Check the closet.
And nothing in the closet.
I'm not tired yet. I can't sleep.
You can't or you won't.
Please check
What?
under the bed.
It's nighttime, bro.
Fine.
Good night.
And nothing under the bed.
Bro, I'd be scared to check under bed, bro.
So it's bedtime.
I really can't sleep.
Well, you're gonna have to try a little harder.
Yeah.
You can do it, buddy. Say your prayers, go to sleep.
Just one more story, then I promise I'll go to sleep. Promise, promise, promise.
No promises.
I have
Go
read
to
you
sleep.
too many stories already. You need to rest.
that, like,
I need to
exhausted?
rest. Please go to sleep.
What's about to happen
Can you
in
read
the
me the one
closet?
about the train?
No, that's it, son. That's it. Negotiations are over.
Man,
Time for bed.
I wish Mommy could read me a story.
kids always do that little game, bro. This,
Well, she can't.
I'm just playing. I don't do that.
Go to sleep.
Check the closet again.
You have so many toys, a monster couldn't fit in there if it wanted to.
Bars.
So that's it. Good night.
Good night, bro. You got a flashlight anyway, Holmes? What you all crying about? I didn't believe in monsters under my bed when I was, because I already knew I had too much stuff for anything to fit under my bed. My closet was too small, so. There's that theory. The basement, though, I ain't go down the basement till I was about 17. Oh, a scary. What is that? Is that what's his name? The dude from Lion King? Oh man, see, you tripping. Why this kid got a whole front door in this one? Is that a front door? Oh my God, no! Bro, I almost passed out off camera. It's too early in the film for... Have to rewind to catch up where we left off, so now I gotta get this all over again. Okay, now we back. Oh, somebody hold grandma. What you about to do with that flashlight, bro? Ain't no shh. I'm sitting. Ah! Ain't no shh. Oh, you want a story, huh?
Once upon a time,
Bro, I'm good on the story.
there was a little train. She had always been fast.
And he's sitting there
She
so
dreamed
intrigued.
of one day being the fastest
What?
there ever was. Every day, the little train would go up the mountain and come down the other side.
Oh my goodness.
Chug, chug.
Is the stories that deep?
But the little train was afraid of the dark, and she didn't want to go through the tunnel like the other trains.
This is ASMR?
They'd always say, "Come on with us," but she didn't know
What is going on?
And every day,
This dude
as
snug
fast
as a
she
bug
could,
right now.
she still couldn't.
Ain't no
find
way,
her
Holmes.
fear. Then one day, she thought she had an idea. She went to the edge of the mountain, looked
What?
inside the tunnel, and she turned on her brightest light.
What? Don't do it. It's about to be the scare of a century. What was that? Hold up, we gotta check that out. What was that? I don't understand. You couldn't see enough to see what was behind them, bro. I don't understand, bro. That was a very good one, though. I guess. I don't know, bro. What's the line between creepy and weird lately? I don't get it. Our final film today is called... These titles are so long, bro. True 7-11 Horror Story Animated by Horror Shorts Party. Hey, finally got a Horror Shorts Party video on here, so it's gotta be good.
I still get nightmares just thinking about it. As a matter of fact,
Why
the
is she
nightmares
sleeping like
reoccur
that?
so frequently that
Hold on, dude,
I
tweak it,
see
tweak
them
it.
more often than I see my relatives who live down the street from me.
Why is you tweaking like
The
that, bro?
dreams took place in what looked like a forbidden realm of darkness, almost like I was in an underground world where the sky was red and my surroundings were engulfed in flames.
Where the hell am I? Is anyone out there?
Hey!
That's when I see a woman
Oh, what
casually
is
approach
that?
my direction, except she's
Ah!
slowly walking backwards like a scene out of The Exorcist. Her
Son.
face was distinct. I recognized her in all my other reoccurring
What?
nightmares.
I need help.
Ain't no way, bro.
Please help me.
How can I help you?
Help me.
What the hell?
I need help. Help me.
What?
Help me. Help me. I need help. Why are you just standing there? Help
Cause you're in a
me.
tree. Dude got a nice
Just a
afro.
dream. Just a dream.
Yes, it is, sir.
Everything's gonna be okay. It's been about several months since I had these reoccurring nightmares. I realized there was always one common denominator. That woman.
Them 7-Eleven
Her
slushies.
distinct facial features and horrendous screams for help was always something I couldn't forget, nor
I bet.
ignore, as I knew I would inevitably see her again in my sleep. I coincidentally began experiencing these nightmares when I started working my new job as a cashier clerk at a 7-Eleven gas station. I attributed the nightmares to the lack of sleep I accumulated while working there. I unfortunately worked night shifts at the time as I couldn't really find a job within my field of study. As much as I didn't enjoy working the graveyard shift, we usually didn't garner as many customers as the day shift would. Maybe just the occasional night owls or creeps that would stop by.
Where are your shoes at,
kid,
fella?
Can I have $10?
Bro.
Sir, I'm afraid I can't give you that.
Kid, I need the money so I can get some of that good. I'll share some with you, okay?
Good.
Sir, if you aren't going to buy anything, then I'm gonna have to ask you to leave.
Get out.
You smell like the leftover Popeyes that I ate from the dumpster yesterday.
Meeting sus customers always left me feeling uneasy for the latter part of my time
Sticks for
working
the
there,
chicks.
but for the most part, the shift was pretty chill. I would always procrastinate by watching my favorite YouTube videos to help pass the time. The 7-Eleven was located in a secluded area near a freeway where most travelers going on a road trip would make a pit stop at. So the majority of our customers were either from out of town or just local residents trying to fill up their gas tank. Maybe get a hot cup of coffee on the side. I remember this one particular shift. A vehicle pulled in and parked at one of the gas pumps. I decided to sip on my coffee and hopefully become more attentive for my drowsy state, just in case the customer needed my help. As I was putting my cup of coffee down, I noticed the customer was standing right in front of me without a trace of a
The
sound
coffee
made.
going.
$30 regular for pump 3, please.
I honestly thought I was seeing things as the woman looked so familiar to the point where I completely disregarded her question. I'm sorry, do I know you from somewhere?
No, not that I know of.
I think so.
I feel like I know you from somewhere. You look really familiar.
Sorry. I think you might have the wrong girl, sir.
But I think we met each other from somewhere. I just know it. Are you sure we didn't go to school together?
No.
Sir, are you the reason I could never go into a gas station and be in and out? Are you that guy? You know the guy. He's talking to everybody. Hey, Bob, how you doing? Hey, what's going on? Hey, you want to buy a Snickers? We're in a contest. Bro, no, I don't. I just want 5 on 5 so I get up out of here, please.
No, we didn't. I really have to get to work now.
Yeah, let it go, pal.
I'm sorry, ma'am. It's been a long night.
So?
$30 for pump 3 it is. The woman then slid $30 towards me and began walking towards her
$10 bills, huh? That's real suspicious.
That's when I put 2 and 2 together.
Watching you.
I recognized the woman as she looked like a potential culprit for the sadistic nightmares I've been having. As the woman began pumping gas outside, I could see she was making direct eye contact with me. Probably because my brief interrogation made her feel a little uncomfortable.
Right, you weird toe.
I decided to lock eyes with her as I wanted to observe more of the woman's mannerisms, in hopes that I could potentially pick up any significant ties to her physical appearance in relation to my reoccurring nightmare. Her face, her eyes, that has to be
lips,
her.
your
I just
thighs.
know it.
It got me
The woman
hypnotized.
eventually got inside her vehicle and drove off as I stood there completely flabbergasted till my shift was over.
Yeah. Like a weird guy, man.
The next evening, I recall getting ready for another shift as I personally like taking
Who got
hot
the
showers
all-green
beforehand.
bathroom?
I remember taking the late night bus to work while casually glancing at the window, pondering if I was ever going to encounter that woman again. The ride to work took approximately 30 minutes, so taking a power nap was completely justifiable.
What?
I would always find myself seated at the back of the bus as I personally like napping without having the awkward feeling of being watched. I remember closing my eyes and slowly lulling myself into a deep sleep, hoping to make up for all the tireless mileage of work I had been through during that week.
You work at a gas
As
station,
I began to slowly drift off,
That's just
I
it.
recall opening my eyes and still
Bro,
being inside the bus, except everything was in an alternate red world. I
It's
can
time to
see all
wake
the
up.
passengers looking at me, except they all looked expired, like they'd been rotting on the bus for months.
Hey, bus driver, can you stop the bus?
Yeah, can I get off here,
Bus
please?
doesn't make any stops. This is just a one-way detour, kid.
Bus driver, I need to get off now!
Right.
That's when I saw her again, sitting near the front of the bus, glancing at me while repeating the words,
Help me! Help me! Help me!
Oh.
Sir, I'm going to respectfully ask you to exit the bus, please.
What? Who is that? Is that you? Talking to yourself?
As I departed the bus, I remember walking an extra 10 minutes to work as the bus driver abruptly dropped me off due to my impromptu disturbance.
That's
I
hilarious.
eventually made my way inside the 7-Eleven and began my shift, making my usual cup of coffee. That's when I see a familiar vehicle pull into one of the gas pumps and put itself in park. Oh my god, that's gotta be her again. The same exact woman that I encountered the last time got out of her vehicle and began entering the gas station. I began to stroll on my cell phone without making it seem like I was intrigued by her appearance while she casually approached the front counter and said,
$30 regular for pump 3, please.
Where are you driving every day for $30?
Do I know you?
No, sir.
Didn't you ask me that last time?
Right.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. It's just, I feel like I've seen you in my dreams before.
There we go. Just tell the truth.
Sorry, kid, but I'm unfortunately taken.
Hey.
No, I wasn't trying to get at your... My apologies, ma'am. $30 for pump 3 it is.
Yeah.
The woman then leaves the cash on the counter and begins to head outside to pump gas into her vehicle. As I nosily glance at the woman, I see the same homeless creep from the other night approach her. He honestly looked like he was on something from the way his eyes were bloodshot and twitchy.
Yeah.
I assumed he was going to harass her for change like how he does with most of the customers that come by during these hours. But what happened next, I never saw coming. The man yanked the gas pump from out of the woman's vehicle and sprayed her with gasoline while she yelled out in agony from the toxic fluid seeping into her skin and eyeballs. I quickly called for law enforcement while running towards the aid of the woman.
What?
But I stopped dead in my tracks as the homeless man lit the woman on fire.
Oh, why? Yeah, there's your dreams, buddy. Why?
Help me!
You non-helpful guy. Let me know in the comments which ones was your favorite. I'm gonna give this one a 7 out. Nah, say an 8 out of 10. I did jump a couple times, but a lot of stories just ended so fast. Couldn't really pick up on the story. I hope you can do better by finding me on Twitter. Rewind to the beginning of the video. Don't forget to strike a pose on that like button. Subscribe now to join the AYOFAM. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Perfect.
Supreme victory!